This video series will give you explanation of chapters of physics, chemistry, biology, astronomy and geology. Now we are going to study physics chapter pressure, and this is part 3 of the chapter. In this part we are going to study about density, relative density and upthrust. So we are dealing with liquid pressure. Now in this part we have to study floating of objects in water or liquid and objects submerged into liquid or water. These topics have to be studied. So in order to understand flotation of objects or submerging the objects into water or liquid, we need to understand density. Okay, density should be understood to understand floating and submerging of objects into liquid or water. Yes, even relative density is also required. You need to understand. So we are in the topic density here. So density, what is density? Supposing you have these two objects, cotton and iron. Okay, and cotton and iron are of same size. Okay, same size of cotton, same size of iron. Okay, and between these two, which one is heavier? Iron is heavier, definitely. No, these two have same size, but iron is heavier than cotton. Okay, so this heaviness of iron and lightness of cotton is because of density. Okay, so density is heaviness or lightness of an object. You can understand it that way. Okay, so heaviness or lightness is because of, you see, how much matter is present, how much iron matter is present in this piece, or how much cotton is present, cotton matter is present in this piece. Okay, so how much iron matter is mass, and in this piece means in this area this much size is volume. Okay, in the same way, in this volume, in this space, how much cotton material is present. Okay, that is why density is mass per unit volume. How much iron matter is present in the given piece of iron. Okay, so mass per unit volume, right? So mass is measured in kg and volume is measured in meter cube, or there is another unit to measure volume, that is liter, which is not mentioned over here. Kg, mass is measured in kg, volume is measured in meter cube. That is why kg per meter cube is the unit of density. Or if you have to say it in another unit, smaller unit, gram per centimeter cube. Okay, gram per centimeter cube is also unit of density. So kg per meter cube is SI unit of density. So we are going to define density here. Density can be defined as mass per unit volume of that substance. How much mass is present, matter is present, iron matter, cotton matter, rice matter, whatever, sand matter is present in given space, given unit volume. In one volume, in given space, how much matter is present, that is density. Density can be defined as mass per unit volume of that substance. So unit is kg per meter cube or gram per centimeter cube, and kg per meter cube is the SI unit. Now you see this one, gold, iron and aluminum. Among these three metals, gold is the heaviest, lightest is the aluminum, and middle one is iron. Okay, this means the gold has highest density, aluminum has the least smallest density, and iron is in the middle. Okay, so this way heaviness or lightness of a substance is density. And again another example, supposing you have water, ice and kerosene. Okay, so water density 1000 kg per meter cube, ice 920 kg per meter cube, lesser than water, and kerosene only 800 kg per meter cube. That is why we have seen oil floats on water. No, if you keep water and kerosene together, okay, in the same container, there will be water label below, and on top of it there will be kerosene layer. It is because the density of kerosene is lesser than density of water. And in the same way we have seen ice floating on water. No, it is because the density of ice is lesser than density of water. You can see 920 kg per meter cube of ice, and water 1000 kg per meter cube. Sometimes we say this as 900 kg per meter cube also, rounding up. Okay, now the next topic we are going to do is relative density. Relative density is very simple. It is just the comparison of any substance with density of water, right? So here relative density of any substance, any object, and divided by density of pure water at 4 degrees Celsius. Water at 4 degrees Celsius. You should take water at 4 degrees Celsius because at 4 degrees Celsius water has the maximum density. Okay, 4 degrees Celsius water gives the correct density of water. So relative density means a comparing of density of any substance with density of water at 4 degrees Celsius, right? So let's see the definition. It is just comparison, it is nothing more. Definition: the ratio of the density of substance to the density of pure water at 4 degrees Celsius is called relative density of that substance. Since this is in division form, no, density of what substance divided by density of pure water, that is why it is ratio. Okay, so ratio is comparison, right? The ratio of the density of substance to the density of pure water at 4 degrees Celsius is called relative density of that substance. Okay, now it doesn't have unit, relative density no unit, because it is only the comparison. Okay, ratio of two densities, it is just the ratio of two densities, that is why it does not have unit, no unit of relative density. So we have finished with density and relative density. We have started density and relative density because it is needed, it is necessary to understand floating of substances and objects submerging into water. Okay, yes, immersed or submerged into water. Now we'll see the next topic, that is upthrust. Upthrust or buoyant force. Okay, buoyancy means floating of substances on water or liquid, that is called buoyancy, and upthrust is buoyant force. Okay, so try to push an empty plastic mug into bucket full of water, you feel upward push. So we have done this, we have experienced this in our day-to-day life. Supposing you have an empty plastic mug and there is bucket full of water, you try to push empty mug into water. Okay, you feel some kind of pressure from water, no, you cannot put the mug into water easily because water pushes the mug up. Okay, so that is upward force or that is upthrust. Again, while lifting bucket full of water from a well, it feels lighter until it is underwater, but it gets heavier when it is taken out of water. So those who have lifted water from well, they have experienced it very well. As long as bucket full of water is inside the well into water, it is lighter, and once you lift it up out of water, it becomes heavier, much heavier than before. Okay, it is because when a body is wholly or partially immersed in the water pushes the body up. It is because the water was pushing the bucket up when it was underwater. Okay, but when you take it out, there is no upward force on the bottom of bucket, that is why it is heavier, right? So that is upthrust, that is buoyant force. Definition: when a body is partially or wholly immersed in a fluid or submerged in a fluid, when a body is into water, the resultant force acted on it by the fluid is called upthrust or buoyant force. So liquid pushes the body up, okay, pushing upward, that is called buoyant force or upthrust. So supposing there is an stone weighing 50 Newton, okay, in the air. There is a stone rock and that is 50 Newton when it is out of water. You put into water, it becomes only 30 Newton. Okay, and where is the other weight, remaining weight, where it has gone? So that is 20 Newton. The last weight is the force pushing upward on it by the liquid. So this one, the upward force on the stone is equal to 20 Newton. So by adding these two, it becomes 50 Newton. Right. So we'll see this from we'll try to understand more this from this activity. Now you see this activity. This activity will make you understand about upthrust or buoyant force easily. Okay, now activity, you have spring balance, you have a stone, and you have overflow can. This one you have a beaker and water is filled in this overflow can. There is a string to, this one to hang the stone, right? So this is the arrangement. You have to do this kind of arrangement, and before putting stone into water in this overflow can, its weight is measured. When the weight is measured, it is 50 Newton outside the water, right? So we'll see it more. Weight in the air, W1. When the stone is measured out of water, yes, that is its real weight out of water in the air. Okay, that is W1 and 50 Newton. Supposing the weight of this stone is 50 Newton, that is real weight. Okay, now you are going to put this stone into water or into this overflow can, right? And we have to make sure that water is completely filled up to this point in overflow can. Okay, there is enough water up to its brim, and weight in water, now that is called W2. Okay, you have put this stone into water, and at this time also it is having weight, of course. Okay, and that weight is W2, weight in water, weight of the stone when it is in water, that is only 30 Newton. Okay, when you measure it, you will find it to be only 30 Newton. It happens. Okay, it is only 30 Newton, not 50 Newton. So this less weight is called apparent weight. Apparent means false weight. False weight of stone in water, 30 Newton. So this is so surprising. Then where is the remaining weight? So remaining weight or the lost weight is 20 Newton. Okay, 20 Newton is lost over here. So if you measure the water displaced by the stone when it is, getting into water, dipping into water, submerging into water, then the water which is removed by this stone measures exactly 20 Newton, right? So weight of displaced water, the water which is removed by the stone, is 20 Newton, right? Okay, the weight lost is 20 Newton, and weight of the displaced water removed, is also 20 Newton. Okay, so this is the magic. Okay, now over here, that means real weight of this stone is apparent weight, which is the false weight in water, plus lost weight. Okay, the lost weight is 20 Newton. If you add these two, then you will have real weight. Okay, so real weight is 50 Newton, apparent weight is 30 Newton in this case, and lost weight is 20 Newton. And surprisingly, you have found that the weight of displaced water removed by this stone when it was getting into water, submerged into water, is also 20 Newton. The water which has come out from this overflow can, which is in the beaker, the weight of this water is 20 Newton. Okay, that means 30 Newton plus 20 Newton is equal to 50 Newton. Right. So here lost weight, what you have understood is lost weight is equal to weight of displaced water, this one. And weight of displaced water is always equal to upthrust. This is called upthrust. Right. That means upthrust is the water pushing the object upward. Right. Upthrust is a force and force is a weight, and this weight is pushing upward on the body by the liquid, okay, by the water. This is upthrust. Now we are going to see this more. Upthrust is, so you have understood that the stone is in water and stone is being pushed upward by liquid, and this pushing upward force is upthrust. This is called upthrust. Okay, this is pushing upward. Liquid is pushing the stone upward. This upward force is upthrust. Right. So upthrust is equal to real weight minus apparent weight. If you have to calculate upthrust, then what do you have to do? Real weight minus apparent weight. Apparent weight means false weight in water. Okay, so if you subtract apparent weight from real weight, weight in air, W1 minus W2, then you will find upthrust. That is easy. Then upthrust is always equal to weight of displaced water, and weight of displaced water is always equal to lost weight. So these three are same. Upthrust is equal to weight of displaced water. Weight of displaced water is equal to lost weight. Okay, so these three are always W1 minus W2, W1 minus W2, because these three are same. Okay, upthrust is equal to weight of displaced water is equal to lost weight. Okay, and these are always equal to W1 minus W2. Okay, real minus my apparent weight. And here is a small numerical problem to understand this. We'll do it quickly. The weight of a piece of stone when fully immersed in water is 18 Newton. Fully immersed in water, into the water, that means this is apparent weight, false weight. And it displaces 4 Newton of water. Weight of water displaced is 4 Newton. Water removed is 4 Newton. Water which comes out, okay, when the stone goes inside, that is 4 Newton. What is the weight of the stone in air? That means what is the real weight of the stone? So first of all, you have to write down given. Okay, what is given in the question, which data is given in the question, solution on top, and given apparent weight, false weight, which is always W2, is equal to 18 Newton. Okay, a weight of displaced water is equal to 4 Newton, and the question is asking what is the weight in the air. What is W1? This is the question. Now we know this upthrust. Now we know the formula. Upthrust is equal to weight in a real weight minus apparent weight. Real weight minus apparent weight. So weight in air is equal to, now weight in air, you have to find out weight in air, so you rearrange this equation. Okay, weight in air, you keep it over here and you bring it to this side. You can do that. Okay, yes, you can bring W2 to this side, minus becomes plus, W2 plus upthrust. Okay, so weight in air is equal to upthrust plus W2 by rearranging this equation. Now you have to find out W1. W1 is equal to weight of displaced water plus this one apparent weight. Okay, and W1 is equal to weight of displaced water is given in the question, that is 4 Newton, and apparent weight is also given, that is 18 Newton. So by adding these two, W1 real weight is equal to 22 Newton. So finally your answer is weight in air real weight is 22 Newton. Okay.